Miss Jackson.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you don't know this beat, it's a girl Kyrie coming at you with a new video. So today we're going to be talking about the Love is Blind Season 6 reunion. Let's get right into the video. Love is Blind know that they were basically on the brink of cancellation. Like, you know, maybe the viewers might be losing. Like, because every season since probably like season 4, they were like, Love is Blind is not going to compare to season 1, Lauren and Cameron, da-da-da-da-da, like, you know, we should stop looking for Love is Blind for love anymore, da-da-da-da. They open up the reunion, basically showing all the successful couples, all the couples that said I do at the altar, you know, that got married, da-da-da-da. They showing a little montage of all the successful couples, whatever. You know, they even showed that, you know, they did the reunion on the Love is Blind set, the whole stage. You know, we see Nick and Vanessa Lachey basically in the pause talking it out. You know, they open up on the set of Love is Blind, basically showing the ins and outs. Like, you even see the camera crew, like, they just knew they had to do something, they had to do something quick. So with that being said, you know, we hear Nick basically saying that out of the 11 couples that said I do at the altar since season 6, none of them are still together. I know one of the two couples that got divorced were Ayana and Jarrett. So yeah, and I think another couple from like season 3 got divorced. So, but everybody's still together. So they're showing that their success rate as a show, as an experiment, is very successful. And, you know, despite, you know, the drama and ups and downs of the show, like, they're good. Which I basically, you know, aside, you know, the goal of the show is basically finding love sight unseen. And a lot of people do end up doing that. But do they make it to the altar, though? Yeah, they do. They really do. Only 11 made it to the altar. Well, only 11 said I do. Okay, you know, so out of 6 seasons, so let that be said. But they did pretty good. So they open up, we see that they brought back, you know, Tiffany and Brett, Alexa and Brennan, Colleen and Matt from season 3, Gianna from season 1. They brought her back. You know, she's with child, she has her partner Blake. They brought back, we see Izzy for some reason with Micah, Chelsea and Kwame. So, you know, they brought some older contestants back. So I was like, oh, okay. So right out the gate, they were talking to Jeramey, and, you know, they asked Jeramey, you know, is he dating someone after it's been a year since the show aired? You know, you broke it off with Laura. Are you dating somebody? And he said yes. They brought out Sarah Ann.
Let's please welcome Sarah Ann to the show.
Oh, not the cake.
Right.
Hi, Sarah Ann. Hello.
So he actually dated her they said they were been dating for an entire year. They actually live together now, all that in the third. But, you know, they had smoke for Jeramey and Sarah Ann, okay? Because obviously they still didn't like how they did Laura. So Laura, she came in on Zoom. She's in Spain. And yeah, so they were basically talking about the whole 5 a.m. situation. Laura basically had smoke for Jeramey and Sarah Ann. I actually showed a clip of Sarah Ann and Laura having a chat, basically talking about the situation of the text, where, you know, she apologizes for, you know, if it came out as disrespectful and all that stuff. So we didn't see that. We just saw AD and Sarah Ann's conversation, and, you know, basically Sarah Ann feeling like she's being iced out by the group of girls, really. We also heard that there was a girl group chat, whatever, and I guess Jessica admitted that she removed Sarah Ann from the chat. So, because Sarah Ann basically revealed that she does not speak to any of the ladies on the show. So, yeah. And Chelsea's response to that was that because she, I guess, unfollowed all the girls and still follows, you know, their fiancés, the men of the show. So they're like, you're not a girl's girl, da 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 da. Sarah Ann and Laura had a little back and forth. You know, basically, Sarah Ann picked me. Basically, what Sarah Ann did was wrong. And then at the end of the day, she ended up dating Jeramey. So it is what it is. Chelsea kind of slipped up and basically said, well, basically, every time I see, you know, Jeramey, you guys are broken up. And Jeremy's like, oh, you only saw me once, you only saw me twice. But I'm just like, so they basically say that, you know, they're on and off again, on again. You know, they have their ups and downs, on again, off again situation. But, you know, they're now together. They're living together since October. And, you know, things are going good. They're fighting for their love, da 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 da. But, you know, I guess Laura wanted an apology for, you know, how Jeramey did her. Because he never apologized, I guess. But I guess they should have brought up what was said in those text messages between Laura and Jeramey. Because I think that was what, you know, the situation that also could have been talked to. But, you know, Nick and Vanessa basically stepped their A game. Like, they probably heard the critics. They had, you know, the receipts, the outside basically noise, like social media, anything that was said on Instagram, whatever. They had it pulled up, ready to be shown on the Jumbotron, okay? They had things shown up. But anyway, the whole Sarah Ann, Jeramey situation and Laura situation, basically, you know, they got ate up. They had a whole countdown for when Trevor comes out. Like, this was so hilarious because I'm just like, why do we have a countdown for Trevor? They finally brought Trevor out. And they brought Trevor out. And tell me why Nick and Vanessa was reading the text message he had between him and his, you know, significant other that he had while he was doing the experiment. He was actually dating somebody off the show. So they were reading the text messages back and forth. Like, Nick was, you know, the guy, Vanessa was the girl. They were just reading back and forth out loud. So Trevor was listening to that. And when they got to Trevor to answer questions, he was too stunned to speak.
What do you have to say?
Say with your chest.
He was too stunned to speak. Like, bro had nothing to say. He's like, I had something planned to say, and like, I don't know what to say to that. Like, I don't know. So they're basically saying, like, how do you go on a show, basically, like, with a con, basically, or a scam where, you know, you were still dating somebody while going on a show looking for love in an event to get married to? Because he, at the last text message was, you know, to his significant other, whatever it was, that he's going to marry them. So it was just like, how do you go on a show like that and then you still have somebody on the outside? So Chelsea was just like, you know what, that whole situation basically confirmed why I didn't pick you. He basically said that, you know, when he did came on experiment, he did change. You know, he was ready to find a relationship. He was ready to find, you know, get married, you know. But after Chelsea broke up with him, he was upset, hurt. You know, Johnny knows it. He's like, you guys trust Johnny, right? So, you know, Johnny knew that I was very upset about the whole situation, but they gagged him. He was too stunned to speak. He asked to leave, and Nick and Vanessa was like, you know what? We're gonna have to drag you before you go. So they dragged him, and he's like, yeah, you can leave now. Which was just like, yeah, it was just messed up. It's just like, did you come on? Because they were having a whole situation where Sarah Ann had like a video saying like, you know, this is reality TV. This is for entertainment purposes. So we're just like, was this really all entertainment or was this real? So they're kind of like doing the same thing with Trevor. Like, did you just come on to further your career? Did you come on, for right reasons? Like, what was your purpose? What was your end game here?
Did you come here to forward your career and be on TV?
No, what career? I mean,
I have no idea.
He didn't have nothing really to say. He was too stunned to speak, like I said. And yeah, that was done. So then they started asking, basically the audience some questions, or the other cast members some questions. So they asked, like Alexa asked, basically, you had a lot of spoke with Sarah Ann about wanting to, see where Jeramey was in a relationship. But, you and Laura had a chat about, wanting to talk to Jeramey. So, Jessica basically owned up that it wasn't a good look for her. And, I'm glad that Alexa basically didn't let up on the situation, because, they had a lot of smoke for Sarah Ann, but, like, people are still forgetting that Laura and Jessica basically chatted and basically laughed or whatever about, like, oh, you can go see how Jeramey feels. Like, you should talk to Jeramey, da 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 da. So there was like, how does Chelsea feel about that? Chelsea admitted that she was hurt watching it back, and Jessica apologized. But I guess with the exception of Sarah Ann, all the girls from that season seem to be good friends or whatever. So they're trying to like not step on anybody's toes too much in that situation. So it is what it is. But like I said, you can have a lot of smoke for Sarah Ann, but you still got to keep it 100 for Jessica and Laura, because I'm just like, Laura was still encouraging Jessica to speak to Jeramey, just like how if another girl was encouraging Sarah Ann to go speak to Jeramey. So yeah. And then Micah basically hits the question to, Jeramey, or, how do you feel about Chelsea revealing the secret on camera? So, Jeramey basically said, like, his friend was very upset, and his friend, obviously one of the girls, did not like that he even revealed that secret to Chelsea in the first place. He basically said that, like, basically broke their trust with Chelsea. He said out of confidence, da 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 da. So Micah basically said, like, oh, if whatever that was said in confidence, probably had something to do with that relationship. So maybe that was the reason for her to say it on camera. But at the end of the day, how Chelsea even spoke about the whole situation was distasteful. So as much as you want to give Chelsea grace, everybody knows that what Chelsea did was wrong. Because when Nick and Vanessa was asking for, the cast members' opinions about the whole situation, everybody was on mute. Like, Clay basically kind of just said, like, what, if it was said in confidence, it should have stayed in confidence, but you know what, let's give grace to Chelsea. Because everybody's all buddy-buddy, so they don't want to step on anybody's toes. Like, 80 was mute. She didn't really have nothing to say about the situation. And, like, that's why I'm just like, 80 had a lot to say, but with the whole Chelsea situation, I know she had a little bit to say, but she did not speak on stage at all about the whole situation. None of the cast members, none of the girls even said anything about Chelsea was in the wrong, because they all knew. They were quiet because they all knew she was in the wrong. But because they're all buddy, all friends, they didn't want to speak. They didn't want to, like, upset the environment. Because, like, yeah, they all rightfully upset with Jeramey and Sarah Ann, because they're kind of like the outcast of the season. Well, Sarah Ann for the girl side, but, Johnny and Jeramey still kind of chat or whatever. They're still kind of like, they speak, it's not all bad blood with the guys on, Jeramey's side. But they all knew Chelsea was wrong for speaking, and how Chelsea acted being on the Jumbotron. 80 finally spoke up and said, like, how we see you in, like, group settings is just, like, you're very confident and, having fun, out there personality. And then seeing you be so insecure in your relationship with Jimmy was just so, like, hard to watch. So that's what 80 had to say about the whole Chelsea situation. So then we spoke about 80 and Clay. So Clay basically says in over a year, he's working on himself. He's going to therapy. He's, like, trying to make himself a better man. which is very, like, you can see a little bit of growth in him. So, like, everybody acknowledged that we can see growth in Clay. Clay, you know, is doing the work. He still said he loves AD. AD on stage basically saying, like, you know what, she's kind of, like, over it with Clay because she, you know, got played by Clay at the wedding. And, you know, she just feels, she's still very upset with the whole situation because, yeah, she did get played by him. She also comes to say that, you know, after seeing the conversation with, you know, Clay's parents, you know, it seems like it was very much a deeper issue that she couldn't have fixed. Like, anything she has done, she couldn't have fixed it because it was definitely a deeper issue. So, you know, Clay's talking about that he does have therapy, you know, goes to therapy, try to make himself a better man, and things of that nature.
It wasn't like that for you. I swear, it wasn't intentional. Like, I'm watching it back, and it broke my heart to break your heart, honestly. And that was not my intention. It happened, and I'll take everything that comes with it. I came out a different man, and I have to credit that to AD. So, you know, if someone changed your life, you just don't, you know, turn your back on them, and you know, that's just me being here for her. So,
and he still loves AD. You know, AD is the love of his life. That's what he claims. AD seems like, you know, she's over with Clay. Like, her and Clay are done. Like, they're not gonna be together. Like, I don't know. But they asked AD, do you see yourself dating Clay? And she says, next question. She said, next question. And the thing is, I think because of that whole video that went viral, it went viral after they filmed the reunion. So they couldn't have pulled that on a Jumbotron, because I'm just like, you said you wouldn't be with Clay, but you are in a video with Clay and his family. Yeah, because AD said that she didn't want to be Clay's mother, respectfully. So, I mean, and I understand, you know, Clay's mother basically got cheated on for the majority of the marriage to Clay's father. So, I can understand why, you know, she said that. But it seems like they have something on the low that nobody should know right now, but I'd be like, everybody peep game that something's going on between them. We don't know, but something's going on between AD and Clay. So we keep it as that. She wants to be, you know, on her business, like, you know, she's not going back to the guy who did her dirty. But, girl, you don't want to be going back to the guy who did you dirty, but I heard you were going on dates with Matthew, the guy who played you and Amber, going on 2 dates. I can understand you, like, just going out because it's for him to apologize, because I'm like, okay, yeah, he does have to apologize for how he did you, because you did express that your father passed away, and then he used that same father line on Amber. So that was very much distasteful of him to do. But you actually going on 2 dates or whatever dates with him to, like, actually see a relationship with him after Clay is crazy. But, you know, Clay said that he knows about that whole situation, which is another reason that they're still in talking situation. They're in some type of talking area where they're either friends or they're together. One of the two. So yeah, and then we basically almost the entire reunion without catching up with Kenneth and Brittany. So Kenneth and Brittany seems to be on very good terms. They're friends. They talk every day, but they're not together. The thing that they basically failed with was that they never talked about the whole cousin going on the internet and trying to out Kenneth on anything. They never really spoke on that. But it seems like Brittany and Kenneth are in a good relationship. They basically joked about, you know, him being on his phone the entire time, but which he basically said that he's a principal, you know, he's very on hands with his school, So, you know, he's been away for 3 weeks, so that's the reason why he was always on his phone, But they didn't really talk about the social media aspect with Kenneth and Brittany, which I feel like they definitely dropped the ball on, because that was one of the biggest things that went with Kenneth. and Brittany's relationship, because it seemed like when they broke up, he didn't really care, and then his cousin basically went on social media and tried to basically give us tea on Kenneth, and just like, okay, what happened to that? If we can get Trevor's text messages, text messages on the Jumbotron being read aloud, then they could have touched on the Kenneth and Brittany situation, or Kenneth's personal life situation, whatever. But other than that, that's really all that we really talked about with Kenneth and Brittany. Kenneth, didn't really get too many lashings other than, you were on your phone too much. But yeah, last but not least, Amy and Johnny, they're still together. They showed basically little clips of their 1 year of marriage, and basically that Amy is not on any contraceptive. She never had to take any contraceptive. She definitely had to do a lot of teaching to Johnny about the contraceptive of birth control. So with all that being said, they're happily married, they're still together, and at least this season has a marriage. At least this season has one marriage that's working. So, claps to them. Other than that, they basically said that Zach and Bliss are having a child. Gianna's having a child, and then Alexa's also with child. They caught up on, Tiffany and Brett. They're finding a house and just traveling. Chelsea and Kwame. Basically, they were just saying that how Chelsea basically got a job as being one of the casting, directors, I believe, for Love is Blind. So that's good for her. It really explains why she's also at the reunion. And then they showed that Izzy, Jessica, and Micah are going on season 2 of Perfect Match. So that was basically it. They also showed the receipts, finally, of the Amber and 80s conversation with Matt, to see if he really did, if Matt was really saying the same things with 80 and Amber, which I was just like, okay, finally they showed us the receipts, because a lot of people were just like, we haven't seen anything with Matt and Amber's conversations. Like, how do we know what he's saying to her is really true? So we saw that. We definitely, in between the conversations with other people, we were seeing a lot of like little, nudges and taps between 80 and Clay, which seems like they're on a friendly vibe. We don't know how friendly is that vibe, but they're on a little friendly, little something going on here. Also, when Kenneth and Brittany were speaking, or basically Brittany, she was basically saying that she doesn't have to test drive something to, know she wants to be with somebody or marry somebody. And the camera panned to AD and Clay, more so AD, because AD actually used that like metaphor of, don't you have to test drive a car? Like, don't you have to test drive your person? And I'm just like, that was very much camera shade, like subtle shade to 80, because 80 was, basically always asking the girls like, oh, are you and so doing something? Are you and so doing something? Like, she didn't even believe that Amy and Johnny were doing something, and they weren't, because of the whole, birth control situations. I don't know who 80's trying to fool with her not trying to go back to Clay, but girl, Clay is making his growth. I mean, he said that he was watching Brett from season 4, so which I feel like, snap, clap, claps to him. I feel like in talks of like successful relationship or marriages from previous seasons of Love is Blind, I feel like Brett and Tiffany should be in conversation, because I'm just like, yes, Lauren and Cameron are the first ones from season 1, but I'm just like, that's not it. Like, Lauren basically apologized for the bean dip situation, because obviously I guess she saw on social media that people didn't like the fact that Laura dismissed AD. So she basically said that I apologize to AD, you know, I apologize for that situation. You know, she wanted to clear it up because she wanted to make herself look like she was good too. Yeah, they didn't really speak on the current status of Chelsea and Jimmy's relationship. They did not. They, you know, they only asked about that whole situation. They just basically said, like, they just talked about what was the cause of her downfall. And I feel like you should have asked, where do they stand in a relationship? Like, yeah, we can get that Kenneth and Brittany are best friends. They're not together, you know, all that. But what's the status, or what happened after the altar between Chelsea and Jimmy? That was another reason they dropped the ball. But all in all, they definitely did come back better with asking proper questions, because in season 4, the season 4 reunion, they definitely dropped the ball. The season 4 reunion, they definitely dropped the ball. And then the season 5 reunion, another time. So they definitely had to up the ante and basically was like, you know what? You know, it seemed like they took some notes from Twitter, to be honest, but they definitely, you know, Vanessa and Nick did their thing. They held people accountable. And yeah, that's what it is. At the end of the day, Amy and Johnny are married, so that's one success. And I feel like at the end of the day, once you have at least one successful relationship, they said another season's on the way. I mean, you already know that season 7, season 8 are already filmed. We're waiting to get released later this year and early next year. So with that being said, that was the end of season 6 of Love is Blind. If you guys like this video, comment down below, let me know your thoughts, comments, concerns, and subscribe to my channel. Subscribe. Anyway, thank you guys for watching this video. Peace.